This video obviously contains spoilers from Inazuma Archon Quest Act 3. So, Inazuma Archon Quest ended by leaving a kinda dark road into the future, and Yae just dropped this information on our head like a mad woman.
Sumeru.
Ooh, Sumeru! We've run into loads of scholars from there on our journey so far.
Yes, well, Sumeru is the land of the god of wisdom, where the quest for wisdom and knowledge is never-ending. But their obsession gives rise to some truly inexplicable things. For example, in Sumeru, knowledge is holistically managed as a resource.
Everyone, welcome to my crazy theory channel. I hope everyone is enjoying the new events, characters and quests. Today we'll be looking into who Kusanali or Dendro Archon is. Where does the name originate from, and what do we currently know about this character? Until patch 2.1, we thought the Dendro Archon was a male, but after this patch and post Inazuma Archon quest, the Dendro Archon was confirmed to be a female by Yae Miko. Even the past lines about Dendro Archon in past Archon quests were changed to she from he. Is there a reason? My take on this is probably due to the majority of players are dudes, and to cater to their enjoyment, MiHoYo decided to change the gender of Dendro Archon because they want more money. Or they just wanted to stop Honkai fans from comparing this guy to the Dendro Archon. Or is it? Okay, now let's just throw that risky topic out of the room and learn about the Dendro Archon. Shall we? Where do we meet the name Kusanali or Dendro Archon in the game? First place was while we were being Zhongli's wallet and taking him around to buy kites for his own funeral. He talks about these designs in the kite, and one of these designs is grass and leaves. Then he talks about the wisdom that symbolizes grass and leaves.
These markings of tree and leaf pay due honor to wisdom and the passage of time. All this on a single kite. Truly astonishing.
Next up, Ganyu went on a tangent that started from Glaze Lilies to talking about Rex Slappers and his Archon bodies to Dendro Archon's age. And here is a place where the gender of the Archon was changed again.
Only Barbados of Mondstadt remains of the first 7. The other 5, including Inazuma's Raiden Shogun, are no longer the same friends from 2,000 years ago. Of the current 7 Archons, the youngest is Sumeru's god of Dendro. He is merely 500 years old, whereas Rex Lapis was more than 6,000 years old at the time of his passing.
Next is this guy, who is a scholar from Sumeru, now living in Knights of Favonius library. He talks about a festival in Sumeru dedicated to celebrating the birth of Lesser Lord Kusanali. Oh, you haven't heard of this line before? I guess you didn't pay attention in the festive anecdotes in Windbloom Festival. Or if you weren't playing the game back then, I can understand. It's fine. Here's what he said back then. I suppose you are not familiar with our traditions. Every year we celebrate festival to commemorate the birth of Lesser Lord Kusanali. Then we got to hear this masterful voice line in Retoport.
Enjoy the blessing of Lesser Lord Kusanali. An Asian blessing now 10% off.
After all that, Yae Miko just straight up said Kusanali is the god of Sumeru.
I don't know whether it was the sages or Lesser Lord Kusanali who came up with the idea.
Lesser Lord Kusanali? That's a cute name.
Oh, you haven't heard. Lesser Lord Kusanali is the deity in whom the people of Sumeru place their faith. It's their chosen term of endearment for her.
That's where the Dendro Archon is mentioned in current day Teyvet. So, what about artifacts and weapons? Nope, absolutely no. Although there is one mentioning of the previous Dendro Archon in the Verdescent Venera artifact set, he was known as God of Woods, and that's all. The name Kusanali originated from a bush possessed by Buddha's past life known as Kusanali, in the 120th story in 550 Jataka storybook, known as Kusanali Jatakaya. I'll tell the story later. Also, the sound Li in Kusanali means female in Sinhala, and what does that have to do with Genshin? The original book of 550 Jataka was written in Sinhala, and it's derived from Pali and Sanskrit, and that's probably another reason for the change. Fun fact, the original book of 550 Jataka was written in my country, Sri Lanka, in Sinhala, according to our history. Then we have the Chinese name, which is
小吉祥草王
which means Little Lucky Grass King. In both Korean and Japanese, the name is said as Kusanari Debi, and the repronunciation comes from because those languages don't have L in their vocabulary. And Debi or Devi is a word from Pali and other languages derived from it, which means goddess, queen, or noble lady in some cases. Now let me give a little summary on what Kusanali Jatakaya contains. In one of Buddha's past lives, a king wanted his rusted palace pillar replaced, and he ordered the carpenters to find the suitable tree in his garden and replace the pillar. So the carpenters found a huge Ceylon-stained wood tree which was home to a tree goddess. Yes, they are tree gods and not spirits. The original says Ruksha Devatava, which means tree and god. The carpenters decided to pray and let the tree god know that they will cut down the tree tomorrow, so find a different tree to stay. So the goddess started crying with her children. Then Bodhisattva, who is one of Buddha's previous incarnations, who is now a tree god born in the Kusanali tree, came and comforted the goddess and said, "I will save your home." The next day, he made himself look like a lizard and made it look like that he went through the tree and showed the bark of the tree is hollow. And the carpenter's judgment the previous day was wrong. So the carpenters thought the tree is rotten and hollow inside, so they didn't cut the tree. The story shows the wisdom of Bodhisattva. So yeah, now the dots are connecting, isn't it? The story shows the power of wisdom, where the Dendro Archon is said to be the god of wisdom. And the name Kusanali is from a tree in Lord Buddha's previous incarnation as a tree god. Most of you might think since Lesser is in the name, she is not the Dendro Archon. But the theorist community members think that since the Japanese and Korean names say Devi and Lesser is a mistranslation of those, I kinda have to agree with that. But I have one more other reason. Since Kusanali is a newer Archon who came after the death of previous Dendro Archon in the Cataclysm 500 years ago, people of Sumeru regarded her as lesser to the previous Archon, and the name stayed forever attached to the name Kusanali. From the lore relating to the Verdescent Venerer and Ganyu's statement about Dendro Archon being 500 years old and Rex Lapis is 6000 years old, we can say that after the death of previous Dendro Archon in the Cataclysm, one of his best students, or an ascended Allegin, Kusanali, might have taken over the position as next Dendro Archon. That's mostly all the information we have of right now, without going into too much speculation. Let's hope that we get more information when the chasm opens up. If you know anything I missed to mention, or if you have any other thoughts on Dendro Archon, leave a comment for me and the others to see. Thank you very much for sticking through to the end. I am Mekamin. If you like the video, click or tap that like button and check out my last video on Impact of Death here and something YouTube recommends here. And consider subscribing for more crazy theories that are out of this world.